Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to give what exactly are we looking forward in this workshop. It is nearly 2 years now since the FAO, Committee on Fisheries, endorsed the voluntary guidelines for securing sustainable small-scale fisheries in the context of food security and poverty eradication. And it is the first internationally agreed instrument dedicated entirely to the small-scale fishery sector. And the instrument is to complement the Code of Conduct for Responsible Fisheries of FAO, which was adopted in 1995. That's more than 20 years ago. So these guidelines are of great relevance to India. It is home to one of the largest small-scale fishers population in the world, including women, men and children, dependent on inland and marine fishery resources for their life and livelihoods. Their access to education, health, drinking water, housing, electricity and sanitation needs to be ensured to improve their food and nutrition security. The small-scale fishery guidelines are developed within a human rights-based approach, upholding civil and political rights, economic, social and cultural rights, including of individual fishers and fish workers, as well as of groups of fishers and fish workers and their families. The guidelines are also within an ecosystem approach to fisheries that recognizes the interrelationship between aquatic ecosystems, associated biodiversity and fishery-based livelihoods. So this combination of two principal approaches, that is human rights-based approach and ecosystem approach, is rather unique. The implementation of these guidelines at appropriate levels would not only contribute to the welfare of inland and marine fishing communities, but it would also contribute to protecting and improving the aquatic environment and conserving biodiversity. The small-scale fishery guidelines, among other things, provide guidance on developing policies, strategies and legal frameworks, especially to enhancing the contribution of small-scale fisheries to food security. They seek to benefit small-scale fishing communities without harming fishery resources and to improve public awareness about the role of small-scale fisheries in providing food and nutrition security. Principles such as consultation and participation, transparency, accountability, and rule of law underpin these guidelines along with international human rights standards. The small-scale fishery guidelines are to be interpreted and applied in accordance with national legal systems and other institutions. So that is the context within which we are present here. The human rights-based approach is very much consistent with Part 3 and Part 4, the fundamental rights and directive principles of state policy of the Constitution of India. Several ministries and departments are involved in dealing with the social dimension, including of relevance to fishing communities at the panchayat, state and union levels. So it's therefore important to consider effective coherence and coordination measures and to ensure that national schemes also effectively benefit all categories of women, children and men of fishing communities as appropriate in inland and marine fisheries. And these schemes include Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, National Education Mission, particularly Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, National Program of Midday Meals in Schools, National Health Mission, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, Integrated Child Development Services Scheme, National Rural Drinking Water Program, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, National Social Assistance Program, Rashtriya Swasthya Suraksha Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, and last but not the least, Digital Saksharata Abhiyan. So these are some of the new schemes under the Union government which we would like reaching out to the fishing communities in both marine and inland sector, to men, women and children. And at the state level, schemes in West Bengal such as Nirmal Bangla to eradicate open defecation, schemes in Tamil Nadu such as the Special Cash Incentive Scheme to prevent school dropouts, creation of assets like ponds for integrated fish farming under the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. I understand that even Andhra Pradesh also has several schemes under MGN regs for the fishing sector. Registration of migrant workers in the construction industry under the Construction Workers Welfare Fund, and schemes such as Zero Landless Family of Kerala. You know, this Zero Landless Family scheme, very relevant for fishing communities who often do not have their own land for housing and for drying their fish, so on and so forth. So these schemes of different states could also be extended to fishing communities in all states and union territories. In addition, there is need for legislation at the national and state level to improve the conditions of employment and work. So we have to talk about safety and social protection of all categories of fishers and fish workers, inclusive of those in both the formal and informal sectors. And when it comes to legal systems and institutions dealing with marine fisheries, both as a state and union subject, the small-scale fishery guidelines, together with the code of conduct, provides comprehensive guidance on revamping fisheries policies and legislation consistent with India's obligations under the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea and the UN Fish Stocks Agreements. Both these agreements, India has either ratified or acceded to, so therefore we are bound by these obligations.